Good evening, Diamonds. How are you doing today? My name is Keith Evans, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about some leadership, the four phases of leadership, because a lot of people are in leadership roles and they don't really understand what leadership really is. And a lot of people get these positions thinking just because I've been given this position, I'm a leader. And that's not necessarily true. So we're going to talk about the four phases of leadership today. And the first phase of leadership is I don't know what I don't know. And it simply means that when we are given these positions, again, we think we are leaders, but we come to find out that we don't have a clue what to do when we given these positions. We find out that no one is following us. We just lost and we're trying to figure it out on what we've heard that what leadership is. So we go through this opportunity to be the leader, really just making mistake after mistake because we don't have a clear definition or understanding what is leadership. So once we get to that point where we don't know what we don't know, and we're like, wow, man, what do I do? That's when we have to have someone that really cares for us enough to help us to see phase two that, hey, man, you just don't know what you don't know. And it's not your fault because you've never been in a leadership position. So that's when we go to what? We go to phase two. I know what I don't know. Meaning that now that I realize I'm in a leadership position, but I don't know what I now know what I don't know because no one told me how to be a leader. Now that I know what I don't know, now it's up to me to start finding out the information to what I need to grow because now I don't know how to get people to follow me. I don't know how to talk to people that I'm over. I don't know how to communicate with them to the point that they would do what I'm asking them to do. I don't know how to get them to buy into me as the leader. So now that I know what I don't know, it's time for me to work on that and go find out what it is I need to know to get to be that leader that I want to be. But the first thing is you have to admit that you don't know what you don't know. And when you don't know what you don't know, it's hard to be a leader. If you don't know where you suck at, where people are not buying into you. So at that point, when you are big enough to say, you know what, I now know what I don't know. I don't know how to be a leader. Now I know that. And I've got to face the fact that if I'm going to be a leader, I got to find someone to help me. I got to get that knowledge that I need to become that leader. And that's when we go to my favorite phase three. I grow and I know, and it starts to show. I grow and I know and it starts to show. What do you mean by I grow and I know and it starts to show? By me knowing what I don't know or didn't know, it gave me the opportunity to start doing self-development. It gave me the opportunity to reach out to other leaders that could pour into me, that could teach me how to be a leader. So when I finally made up my mind that I know what I didn't know, that it was time to get that information, guys, that's when I started to grow and I started to know and it started to show. Meaning, guys, when I started growing, I started reading books. I started listening to positive audio. I started going to events with other successful leaders. I started having conversation with other successful leaders that were in that point in leadership in their life where I wanted to be. And by doing this and going to other, mostly events and audio CD, all this good stuff, just getting this information, guys, as I started reading the books, listening to the audio, going to the events, talking to leaders, man, and I started just really pouring all this self-development into me, it started to show and people would start saying, I notice you don't talk the same way you used to. You don't use the same words. You don't get upset when certain things happen like you used to. I see now you're getting better at working with people instead of hollering at people. They say, I can see you growing. What are you doing? You are changing. I see a change in you. See, now at phase three, where I grow and I know, and it starts to show. See, I read the book so I would grow. And then by reading the books, I got the knowledge. So now I know, and now that knowledge is coming out and it's starting to show, and other people are buying into it now. They are buying into me. They're buying into my leadership. But even now at phase 3, I still have to be careful and think about everything I'm going to say, because I'm still in that learning process. And a lot of people try to jump out the learning process, which is phase 3, directly into phase 4. You don't want to do that, because you want to make sure that you know what you know. So when it starts to show, you will be a solid leader, and that will only happen over time. For some people, it's 5 years, some 10, some even 20. Guys, I've been on this self-development thing for over 30 years now, that people been talking to me and feeding into me, but I didn't get serious about it till about the last 10 to 15 years. That's when I really got serious. So guys, in my case, I started to grow. It started to show. And now, guys, I'm moving on to stage 4. So let's do that again. I grow, I know, and it starts to show. That's where we are now, guys. So after 15 years of really doing this part, phase 3, learning and getting this leadership down, I was able to move on to phase 4. And it's simply is I go simply because of what I know. And what do you mean by I go simply because of what I know? This is what he's saying, Diamonds. This is what we're saying here on this part. Now that you went through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, excuse me, and you had phase 4, guys, you're that leader now that people follow you because they believe in your leadership. People listen to you because they believe in your word. Your word is bond. They know you know what you're talking about. People follow you because of your influence, and they know that you're a leader that gets the job done. And when you get to this phase and you're talking to people, your leadership just comes out without you having to think about it, without you scratching your head and go, So you don't do that when you become a real leader, because now you've done the self-development. You've got all that mental food in you. You've grown so much that now every time you talk to someone, all that knowledge and wisdom is coming out of you. So simply, excuse me, guys, I simply go because of what I know. And when you become that leader and you get to phase 4, guys, it's going to be automatic. It's just going to be flowing out of you. So guys, go through these 4 phases of leadership. Make sure you're crossing off each one of them as you grow, and make sure that you're the leader that you want to be. My name is Keith Evans. I'm with the EOD, the Empire Diamonds. We'll see you on the next EOD video training. With that, be blessed.